Welcome back. You have built your inner sanctuary. You have vowed to meet yourself with kindness. You have created the safe harbor where the real work can begin. And so, you sit down with your journal. You take a pen in your hand. You feel a sense of readiness mixed with a familiar question. Now what? You may have heard the term shadow work prompts. You've likely seen lists of them online. What part of you did you have to hide as a child? What quality in others irritates you the most? They seem like the keys to unlocking the shadow, but a key is useless if you don't know how to turn it in the lock. I have seen many people collect these prompts like recipes, dutifully answering them one by one, only to find themselves feeling more confused than before. They treat it like a homework assignment, an intellectual exercise. This is the most common mistake one can make. A shadow work prompt is not a question to be answered. It is a doorway to be entered. It is not an invitation for your thinking mind to analyze and conclude. It is an invitation for the forgotten parts of your soul to speak in their own language. And that language is rarely one of neat, logical sentences. It is the language of feeling, of imagery, of memory, of bodily sensation. Today, we will move beyond simply collecting prompts. We will learn the art of using them. We will explore what a shadow work prompt truly is, and more importantly, how to use it effectively as a tool for deep listening, not just intellectual analysis. This is the skill that transforms journaling from a simple diary into a profound conversation with your own soul, a practice Carl Jung himself championed. This is how we begin to hear the whispers from the shadow.
Let's begin by dismantling a common misconception. A shadow work prompt is not a test question. There's no right or wrong answer. Your goal is not to produce a well-reasoned, grammatically correct paragraph that correctly analyzes your psyche. If you approach it this way, you are engaging your ego, your conscious thinking mind. And the ego is a wonderful tool, but it is not the part of you we are trying to hear from. In fact, the ego is often the very guard that keeps the shadow locked away. It wants to manage, to control, to explain, to rationalize. It is afraid of the raw, messy, illogical nature of the unconscious. So what is a shadow work prompt then? It is a key designed to unlock a specific door in the vast corridors of your inner world. It is a focusing lens. It is a divining rod that helps you sense where the hidden water is flowing. Its purpose is not to elicit a thought, but to evoke a resonance. It is a tool designed to bypass the thinking mind and speak directly to the feeling body, the dreaming mind, the hidden archive of your soul. I remember when I first started this work, I would encounter a prompt like, "Describe a time you felt deep shame." My immediate reaction, as someone who valued intelligence and control, was to write a detailed, third-person account of the event. I would explain the context, analyze why I acted the way I did, and conclude with a neat summary of what I learned. I was writing a report about the shame. I was not allowing myself to feel the shame. My ego was masterfully keeping me at a safe, analytical distance from the raw emotion. It was a perfect defense mechanism, and it yielded absolutely no healing. The shift happened when I learned to treat the prompt not as a question, but as a meditation, a portal. Let's take that same prompt. Describe a time you felt deep shame. Here's the difference between answering it and entering it. The answering mind would start typing, "When I was 10, I lied to my mother about breaking a vase," and the story would unfold. The entering mind does something different. It starts by taking a breath. It closes its eyes. It repeats the word shame silently. It asks the body, not the mind, "Where do you live in me, shame?" and it waits. It notices a tightening in the throat, a heat in the cheeks, a hollow feeling in the stomach. It doesn't rush to name the memory. It first connects with the raw, physical sensation of the emotion. It is building a bridge not of words, but of feeling. This is the first step of effective shadow work journaling, a practice deeply rooted in the Jungian approach of honoring the nonverbal language of the psyche. From there, the entering mind might ask, what image comes with this feeling? And perhaps an image surfaces. Not a full story, but a snapshot. The pattern on the broken pieces of the vase, the look on your mother's face, the color of the carpet you were standing on. These are the hieroglyphs of the unconscious. They hold more emotional data than 1,000 well-written words. This is the fundamental difference. One approach produces an essay. The other facilitates an experience. Carl Jung taught that a neurosis, a psychological wound, is not healed by simply understanding it intellectually. He famously said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. And making the darkness conscious is not an act of the intellect alone. It is an embodied, felt experience. You must be willing to feel the heat in your cheeks, to sit with the hollowness in your stomach. Consider a 40-year-old nurse named Maria, a classic giver. She came across the prompt, what is a need you have that you are afraid to express? Her immediate answering mind immediately wrote, I need more rest. A logical, true, but ultimately sterile answer. It didn't change anything. The next week we tried again. This time I invited her to enter the prompt. She closed her eyes, sat with the question, and listened to her body. She noticed an immense weight on her shoulders. She described it as feeling like a heavy, wet blanket. Then I asked, what does the blanket want? And through tears, she whispered, it just wants to be put down, just for an hour. In that moment, her need for rest transformed from an abstract concept into a deeply felt, visceral reality. She didn't just know she needed rest, she felt the crushing weight of not having it. That feeling is what created the motivation for her to finally start setting boundaries at work. That is the power of entering, not just answering. So when you look at a list of shadow work prompts, I want you to stop seeing them as a to-do list or an exam. See them as a collection of doorways. Your only job is to pick one that resonates, that gives you a little flicker of energy, whether it's fear, curiosity, or irritation. And then your work is not to compose the perfect answer, but to have the courage to turn the key, push the door open, and simply witness what is on the other side, without judgment.
Now that we understand a prompt is a doorway, not a test, how do we effectively walk through it? I want to offer you a simple 4-step process, a ritual if you will. This is a structure that can help you move from the head to the heart, from analyzing to experiencing. I have used this process for years, and it has become the bedrock of my own inner work. It ensures that when you engage with a shadow work prompt, you are doing so from a place of safety, curiosity, and embodiment. The 4 steps are: 1. Create the container. 2. Pose the question. 3. Witness the resonance. 4. Capture the essence. Let's break these down. Step 1. Create the container. This is the step most people skip, and it is the most important. Before you write a single word, you must consciously and intentionally create a safe space. This is where the work we did in our last conversation becomes your greatest asset. Take a few deep breaths, close your eyes, and bring yourself into your inner sanctuary. Whether it's your sun-drenched library, your coastal cove, or your quiet room filled with light, spend a minute or two fully arriving there. Feel the ground beneath you, hear the sounds, smell the air. This act does 2 things. It calms your nervous system, signaling to your body that you are safe to explore. And it creates the temenos, the sacred vessel that Carl Jung knew was essential for any psychological work. You are consciously separating this inner work from the chaos of your daily life. You are saying, for the next 15 minutes, this is a sacred time for me. Step 2. Pose the question. Once you feel grounded and present in your safe space, you choose your prompt. Let's use a classic one. What quality in others irritates you the most? Now here is the key. You do not begin by writing the answer. Instead, you pose the question to your inner world as if you're asking a wise, mysterious being. You can say it out loud or just internally. What quality in others irritates me the most? And then you let it go. You release the need for an immediate intellectual answer. You are dropping a seed into the soil of your unconscious and trusting that something will grow. Step 3. Witness the resonance. This is the heart of the practice. It is an act of deep, non-judgmental listening with your entire being. Your job now is simply to witness what arises in response to the question. This is not a passive waiting. It is an active, open-hearted observation. What happens in your body? Do your shoulders tense up? Does your jaw clench? Do you feel a knot in your stomach? These are somatic clues, the body's language. What emotion surfaces? Is it anger? Frustration? Contempt? Sadness? Don't push it away. Just name it silently. Ah, there is anger. What image or memory floats into your mind? Perhaps it's the face of a specific person, a coworker, a family member. Perhaps it's a scene from your childhood. Don't chase the story, just notice the image that appears. What thoughts or beliefs emerge? Maybe you hear a critical voice. Lazy people are the worst. Or, I can't stand arrogant people. These are your ego's judgments, and they are valuable clues. You're simply gathering data, like a naturalist observing a new species. You are not trying to fix, change, or even fully understand anything yet. You are just witnessing. I remember working with this prompt and being flooded with irritation for people I deemed needy. My body would get tight and I would feel a powerful urge to pull away. For a long time, I just witnessed this reaction without making myself wrong for it. This witnessing is an act of incredible compassion. You are allowing all parts of you to be seen. And step 4, capture the essence. Only now, after you have sat with the resonance, do you pick up your pen. And your goal is not to write a perfect essay. It is to capture the essence of what you experienced. You might not write in full sentences. You can use bullet points. You can draw the image that came to mind. You can write down the physical sensations, tightness in chest, clenched jaw, hot face. You can write down the core belief that surfaced, the belief that needing help is a weakness. You can write a dialogue, giving the irritated part of you a voice. I can't stand it when she asks for more. Why can't she just handle it herself? This kind of journaling is not about creating a neat narrative. It is about creating an honest record of your inner experience. It's messy, non-linear, and deeply authentic. This is what it means to make the darkness conscious, as Jung would say. You are taking the raw material of your unconscious, the feelings, the images, the beliefs, and bringing it into the light of your awareness onto the page. This act of capturing the essence is profoundly validating. It tells the hidden parts of you that their experience is real and that you are finally, truly listening. This 4-step process, container, question, resonance, essence, transforms shadow work from a daunting intellectual task into a gentle, embodied, and deeply healing ritual. It ensures that you are always grounded in safety and guided by curiosity. It is the most effective way I know to use shadow work prompts not just for information, but for transformation. Now that you have this 4-step ritual, the question becomes, what kind of prompts should you use? The internet is flooded with lists of shadow work prompts, and while many are excellent, it can be overwhelming. It's easy to get lost in a sea of questions. I want to simplify this for you by grouping prompts into 3 core categories. Understanding these categories will help you choose a prompt that resonates with where you are on your journey right now. The 3 categories are the mirror, the map, and the miner's lamp. Let's start with the first category, the mirror. Mirror prompts are designed to reveal your shadow through the mechanism of projection. As we've touched on before, and as Carl Jung taught extensively, the things that we have disowned in ourselves, we often see and judge harshly in others. So, mirror prompts ask you to look at your reactions to the world around you. Classic examples include, what quality in other people irritates or angers you the most? Who do you secretly admire, and what qualities do they have that you feel you lack? Describe a character in a book or movie that you despise. What is it about them that repels you? When I first worked with the irritation prompt, the word that came up for me was entitled. I couldn't stand people who acted as if the world owed them something. Using the 4-step process, I sat with that irritation in my safe space. The resonance was a feeling of constriction in my chest and a belief that you should never ask for anything, you have to earn everything. The essence I captured was the realization that my irritation was a reflection of my own deeply suppressed sense of deserving. I had exiled my own ability to feel entitled, to rest, to help, to joy. The people who triggered me were simply living out a part of my own shadow. These mirror prompts are powerful because they use the external world as a direct reflection of your inner landscape. The second category is the map. Map prompts are designed to help you uncover the origins of your patterns and beliefs. They invite you to travel back in time, not to blame or dwell in the past, but to understand the why behind your present-day reactions. These prompts help you map the territory of your conditioning. Examples include, what was an emotion you were not allowed to express in your childhood home? What were the spoken or unspoken rules about success, failure, or money in your family? Describe a time you felt profoundly unseen or misunderstood. These prompts require a great deal of gentleness as they can touch on sensitive memories. This is why the safe space container is so vital. A client I worked with, a 45-year-old man who struggled with intense workaholism, used the prompt about unspoken family rules. After sitting with it, the memory that surfaced was not a dramatic one. It was the simple image of his father, exhausted after a 12-hour shift, never sitting down, always finding something to fix. The unspoken rule was, your worth is your work. To rest is to be worthless. He didn't need to analyze it further. The image itself was the entire story. It was the map that explained his compulsive need to stay busy. Understanding this origin point didn't magically cure his workaholism, but it replaced his self-criticism with a deep compassion for himself and his father. Finally, we have the third category, the miner's lamp. These prompts are more direct. They are designed to shine a light straight into the darkness, to ask the shadow itself to speak. These can feel the most vulnerable and should be used once you feel comfortable with the process. They are direct invitations for a dialogue. Examples include, if your anger could speak, what would it say in one sentence? Write a letter to the part of you that feels not good enough. What is a secret you are keeping, not from others, but from yourself? These prompts are not about intellectual answers. When you ask, if my anger could speak, you are not supposed to think about what it would say. You are supposed to listen for the first words that bubble up from your gut. It might be, leave me alone, or I'm so tired, or even just a guttural roar. Your job is to capture that raw essence on the page. You are acting as the scribe for your soul. This is a profound practice of what Jung called active imagination, where you consciously engage with the figures of your inner world. So, how do you choose? You don't. You let the prompt choose you. As you read a list of prompts, notice which one gives you a little charge. It could be a spark of curiosity, a twinge of fear, a flash of irritation. That charge is a signal. It's your psyche telling you, there's energy here. There's something to explore. Trust that signal. That is the doorway for the day. Remember, the goal is not to get through a list of 100 prompts. The goal is to have one truly authentic 10-minute conversation with yourself. One prompt entered deeply is worth more than 100 prompts answered shallowly. This is a practice of depth, not distance. It is the art of learning to listen to the subtle, wise, and often wounded language of your own beautiful soul. This is how you find the gold.
Today, we have transformed the way we approach our inner work. We have moved beyond the simple collection of questions and stepped into the art of deep listening. We have learned that a shadow work prompt is not a test to be passed, but a sacred doorway to be entered. We now have a clear 4-step ritual: create the container, pose the question, witness the resonance, and capture the essence. This process is our compass and our anchor, ensuring that every time we approach our shadow, we do so with safety, respect, and profound curiosity. We have also explored the 3 main types of prompts: the mirror, the map, and the miner's lamp, understanding that each offers a unique pathway into the rich landscape of our unconscious. The most important takeaway is this: you hold the keys. You have the power to transform your journal from a simple record of events into a living, breathing conversation with your soul. I remember the profound shift in my own practice when I stopped trying to write the right answers and simply gave myself permission to capture the messy, beautiful, authentic truth of my inner experience. It was the moment my healing truly began to accelerate. This is the same power that is now in your hands. You have the tools. You have the framework. You deserve to give yourself this gift of deep listening. Your invitation this week is not to answer a dozen prompts. It is to choose just one. Find one prompt that gives you that little spark of energy. It could be from one of the categories we discussed or one you find elsewhere. And then dedicate just 10 or 15 minutes to move through the 4-step process. Create your container. Pose the question. Witness whatever comes up in your body, in your emotions, in your mind's eye, and then capture its essence on the page without judgment. That is all. One authentic conversation is the goal. But as you begin this powerful journaling practice, you might start to wonder, is a journal the only tool for this work? Is it the most important one? While the Shadow Work Journal is an indispensable ally, there is another tool, another perspective that is arguably even more fundamental. It is a tool that is so simple, so ever-present, that most of us overlook it entirely. It is a tool that, once you learn to use it, can turn every moment of your life into an opportunity for shadow work without ever picking up a pen. It is the most important tool for integrating your shadow, and it is not what you think. What is this mysterious, powerful tool, and how can you begin to use it to find the gold in your daily life? That is the secret we will unlock together in our next conversation. We have learned how to use the key. Next, we will learn about the master key that opens all doors. In the comments below, I invite you to share which of the 3 types of prompts, the mirror, the map, or the miner's lamp, you feel most drawn to exploring first. There is no right answer, only your own inner resonance. Your journey is unique, and we are all here to witness and support one another. Thank you for your courage and your willingness to listen so deeply. The conversation has just begun. I will see you again very soon.